Hey, Ethan, can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah.
Praise the Lord. Well, we're just so honored to have you this morning. We're excited to have you, and honestly, you've been very much on our hearts. And I know there's a lot of people praying for you, a lot of people asking about you. So we'd just like to take opportunity this morning just for you to open up your heart. Let me know what God's doing at the moment or what He's been doing with you. I think it was June last year that we prayed for you, sent you out to India with our blessing, and you've been on our heart constantly. So, would you just let us know how's it been going? And maybe near the end, just let us know how the coronavirus has been affecting you and even the community where you're living. So, we'll just let you loose. Go ahead.
Yes. Awesome. Yes, I'm very thankful to be able to speak to the church, and my prayer is that I can encourage you to a deeper walk with the Lord. So I want to start actually by reading something in Psalm chapter 32, and it's verse 8 and verse 9. So this is the New King James Version. It says, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. Do not be like the horse or like the mule, which have no understanding, which must be harnessed with bit and bridle, else they will not come near you." Now, I want to start with these two verses because I want to share a story with this. About 2 months of me being in India, I moved to a mountain village, and that's where I learned a little bit of Hindi. So when I was in this village, there was one restaurant near the base of the mountain that I would go to that had very good food. So many times I would take the hour journey down the mountain by walk to go eat here. And something that the Lord really broke me about was me putting my own desires before Him. And here's the story. So as I was walking down the mountain one day, there was a man who approached me and started talking with me. He had some questions on like the direction that a building that he wanted to go to. So I was able to give him directions, and he kept talking to me. And in my mind, I'm thinking I want to hurry this up so I can go eat. Like I'm so hungry. I want to go down to this restaurant and eat because I wanted to so badly. But he kept talking and kept talking. And long story short, the gospel gets brought up. He's. I feel like this isn't just a normal encounter because he keeps asking me questions to the point where it's getting into if I don't share the gospel, I know I'm not obeying the Lord. So I share with him, and we talk for such a long time. And something he said to me at the end really broke me. He literally told me, this Hindu man told me, "Why weren't you going to share this message with me?" That's literally what he told me. He literally said, if I didn't approach you and say something to you, I never would have heard this message. And I remember crying. I was weeping because here I am only thinking about food, thinking about going down the mountain and enjoying uh, something that's fleshly. We all need food, but uh, and these two verses really convicted me. Okay, this is talking about not being like a horse who needs to be harnessed with bits and bridle, otherwise, it will not come near you. So I felt like my relationship with the Lord was one where if the Lord drugged me to talk to someone, I would talk to them. Okay. And at the beginning, it says that He will instruct us and teach us in the way we should go, and He will guide us with His eyes. So if we have not given ourselves to the Lord, in John 15, verse 15, Jesus talks about that He will no longer call us servants because a servant does not know what his master is doing. There is a relationship that you can have with the Father to where He can show you exactly what you need to be doing, and you don't have to walk in darkness. Okay. I remember weeping because we have a message of life to give people. And here I am only thinking about my own desires, thinking about, oh, I'm only going to leave the house to go eat at a nice restaurant. But that is such contrary to what we're supposed to be as ambassadors for Christ, especially. If we are an ambassador for Christ, that means we represent the government of God behind us, the kingdom of God we represent. So I want to encourage you in this way that you would give your heart completely to the Lord to where you would have relationship with Him, that He would be able to call you friend, that He would be able to reveal the plan that He has for your life, and that your own flesh wouldn't dictate what you're doing and where you go, what you say, that you would not only share the gospel when literally you have a bit and bridle in your mouth and you're harnessed like a horse, but that you would have relationship with the Lord, that you would know what to do. And I just want to encourage you with this before I say anything else. Seek deeper faith with the Lord to where you see him clearly, that you can be called his friend. So around now, I'm in the city of Mumbai. So this city is in South India, and it's connected to the ocean. This was a major British colony about 100 years ago, a little bit more than that. And so it's where Bollywood is located, and also the biggest slum in the world is located here. So my main ministry here has been teamed up with a Korean ministry. They have a school, a church, and a slum ministry, and they're all connected. So I partook in all three while the curfew wasn't going on. So I would teach at the school, and what was really dynamic about the school was that it was an English medium school, which is very desirable by people here because they want to learn English so that they can have a more successful life for their kids when they're older. But the government schools that are offered for free do not teach English. Okay, they only teach Hindi or the native tongue of the state, which in Mumbai, it's Marathi, a different language altogether than Hindi. So if there's a private school that is teaching English, many parents want to send their kids there, but usually because it's too expensive, they cannot. But with this ministry, it's affordable. So many Hindus, many Muslims are able to go to the school, and it's desirable because they learn English. So with that in mind, I am a teacher who has been given free reign to teach whatever I want. I teach two subjects. The first one is called moral science, and which is a great name because I use the Bible to teach this as my curriculum. And the second class I teach is health. So during moral science, there's been many testimonies, and those of you who have read my update letters, you've heard many of them. But what a beautiful time this has been, especially with these kids encountering the Lord for themselves. Many of these kids are from the slum who have been given free tuition, or they have come out of the brothels. Many have come from just terrible backgrounds. And so I could talk for a few hours of testimonies of what these kids have encountered while I've been here in regards to the Lord. One story I could share, the kind of the setup of the Bible class, it's in the morning, and I'm teaching teaching 8th grade through 10th grade for this. So we're all in one room and we're teaching, and I'm teaching. And I come at a very evangelistic approach, just really sharing the gospel very simply, and really asking the Lord to speak. And at the end of the class, we take time to hear from the Lord. And we say, it's just a simple thing. I say, Lord, just speak to the students. And we just sit in silence. Sit in silence. And every time, the Lord speaks to the kids, every single time. So on one particular day, God really led me to talk about the heart of the Father, and how God the Father is a father to the fatherless. That if we didn't have a loving parent growing up, that he would adopt us as orphans. So I shared this message, and I had two girls come up to me afterwards. And one of them was born in the brothel to a prostitute, and the other was born in the slum with a father who was very abusive. So these girls are just weeping. And they said, Ethan, they call me Ethan, sir. They said, Ethan, sir, we grew up not having good lives. We grew up with having no father. And the father that one of them had was so abusive. And they were just weeping because they said, Jesus spoke to me. It wasn't that my message was good. It wasn't that I was eloquent with my words. It was that God himself spoke to these two girls who were so broken. And he said one phrase, I love you. That's what the father said to these two girls, and the tears on their eyes. So I've been able to see the development of these girls, because this happened early on when I came. I've been in Mumbai 7 months now, a whole semester or a whole year for the school, and I've just seen amazing fruit in these kids. I have another thing I want to share. In this school, you guys can remember if you read my updates, I talked about one boy who was kind of the tough boy in the school. Didn't really care. They sing songs in the morning, and he would always just stand with his arms crossed. So I noticed him, and I could see God doing something with him, but I don't think he wanted to admit it right away. So a few days into me being here, and teaching the way God was having me teach, I go up to him and ask him. I said, "Is God speaking to you?" And he has tears in his eyes, because I always encourage the kids to seek God on their own, that they would know who he is. And when they're home alone, especially when they feel loneliness or pain, that they would say, "Jesus, show me who you are." And he said, he kind of waited until his friends weren't listening. And he said, "Ethan, sir," he said, "I have been asking Jesus to show me who he is. And he said, he is giving me strength, and I feel him." That's what this boy said. It was not a week into me being here. So just seeing the development of him, I want to read something he sent me 2 days ago, actually, because his family is Hindu family, and he's given his life to Christ. And he's talking about how his friends are leaving him, and how his family is not really accepting of what his decision is to follow Christ. I want to read a message that he sent me. At the beginning, he says, "Everything is going hard, but I know that Jesus has made everything beautiful in his time. He is my hope, strength, confidence. I've just surrendered everything into God's hand. I believe my Jesus, and he will not leave me. And I will also not leave my Jesus. He loves me. For me, he has suffered so much, and I also suffer because I know my Jesus is with me. He has beautiful things for me. Even though I am going through trouble, I don't care. I know Jesus is with me. I know he's going to give me a testimony. I know he is with me. Even if I will get success or failure, even if I will be rich or poor, even if I will be bad in other people's eyes, even if I am or not, I don't care, for Jesus is everything. Even if I'm happy or broken, I don't care. For me, Jesus is everything, and he is mine. Even people who, if they live to hurt me and break me, I don't care. I know Jesus is with me." Now, I don't know how to explain this to the American church. Many times, if someone comes to Christ, the first generation believer, they are kicked out of their family. They are chastised. They lose all their friends. If they own businesses, they may lose business. And in extreme cases, in the villages, they get killed. So I don't know how to exactly explain this, but you tell me, why would anyone convert to Christ if he was not real? Why would someone send this message who is facing rejection from his friends? He told me that his friends have been mocking him because he's very vocal about his faith in Christ now on his social media. Why would anyone just convert? That's why I see Christ is so powerful, because he is alive. With Christ, there is life. Okay? With religion, there's only death. There's only rules. There's only the ability to strive to become selfless. Okay? If you remember in one of my update letters, there's one time up in the mountains, I met a woman who she was telling me that she loved being possessed. That's what she said. She said many times, she says, I just go into my room and I ask the spirits to fill me. Okay? I like to have a spiritual experience. She was talking about this stuff to me, and in my heart, I'm feeling this is very strange, very weird. She all of a sudden, mid sentence, stopped and looked at me and said, "But there is one thing that I haven't been able to do." That's what she told me. I have not been able to get rid of my ego. I've not been able to get rid of my pride. But she said, in you, I do not see pride. I don't see ego. She said, "Do you know?" She asked me if I was a guru. She asked me literally if I was a guru. And I said, "No." I said, "Jesus Christ has saved me. He has cleansed me. He's sanctifying me." I said, "Without Christ," I said, "what you're seeing is the blood of Christ. It's not that I'm a good person. It's that when God the Father sees me, he sees me as clean because of the work of Jesus." So she told me, the last thing she told me before she left, I shared the gospel with her. She said, "I will try Jesus." That's what she told me. So I Don't know what happened with her, but I'm just seeing the power of God to where, you know, we may have to sacrifice if we're going to follow Christ, but it is so worth it, because to have the favor of God, to have the peace of God, no money can buy this. Okay. No amount of morality can buy this. Okay. The peace of God and the love of God is something that is so wonderful that it is worth suffering for. It is worth being persecuted for. So that's what I'm seeing here in India. It's not a message of just convert. Okay. It's a message of meet the God who created you. Okay. Meet the God who wants relationship with you.
That's lovely. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
I just want to finish with one quick question.
Yes.
Just describe, locally, just where you are at the moment, and just how this whole coronavirus is affecting you and the community at the moment.
Okay, so India, as of March 25th, has been in a lockdown. So this is the longest lockdown in history. And I was telling Paul earlier, America can handle something like this, but a country like India cannot. So if they let the virus go, if they stop the lockdown, the virus will spread faster than anything else. Because in the city I'm living in right now, there's 20 million people. Okay? And that's not including the people in the slums, which number in the millions. So if you, and it's an island too, it's an island, so it's not very big. Now, if the virus were to spread, I think many people would die, because also there's not much for health. Health isn't very high on necessity, just because of the poverty here. India has such a massive unemployment rate. Many people live in the slums. Many people live on the streets, and they live under bridges, on bridges, anywhere they will sleep if they can. So this virus is really bad because everything is shut down beside essential services. So their already high unemployment has increased by 70%, 80%. And so people are starving, people are rioting. Many of the migrant workers, who they're mostly the slum dwellers, aren't able to work now, so they have nowhere to go. They can't get back to their villages that they come from because the trains aren't working. So there's riots that are happening, and like I said, the government. If you look on a news source, they might talk about how they're providing food for these people in the slums and the homeless people, but I mean, they aren't. In a lot of places, they're undocumented people, so the government might not even know that they're there. So what we've been doing, we've been bringing food into the slums. And at the beginning, we had to do it very secretly, because the police beat you if they catch you outside, unless you're going to a grocery store. So we got threatened by the police to call on us one time. So especially because me and two Koreans went out, which is really dangerous because we're foreigners, and everyone around us is Indian, and most every foreigner has left India too. So, but one of our church members got beat while trying to buy food for people in the slum, and because of this, we were given government permission to go into the slums. So this is huge. This was about a week and a half ago, that we most times have an officer with us going into the slums, but we are also given like a pass to go in front of the line to get food at one of the markets, which is awesome. So we've served over 350 families here in Mumbai, and we're going into the slums that we do the ministry in, so they all know us and they love us. And so, but around India, about 2,000 families have been served, because the Korean ministry I'm living with a Korean pastor, who is, I'm so blessed by him, at his generous heart, because I think maybe $20,000 came in from Korea to give to the people in need, and he sent 80% of it to other places in India. We haven't kept more than 20%. So a lot of the church members are suffering. We've been able to buy food for them. The supplies that we give are very good. It's enough to last the entire curfew, and it's not rotten food. Like if the government does give food, it's not good. So people are very thankful that we're able to do this. And I mean, what an opportunity to back up the message that we've been preaching. Okay, especially the fact the government literally told us when they started joining us on this ministry, they said we did not expect a white person to go into these areas. They said we maybe expected that you would give us money and you would have us do it, but you're doing going into these areas, and what a testimony! What a testimony that because these Indians, these high caste Indians, some of them are very wealthy. Mumbai has the most millionaires in the world. Mumbai, my city that I'm in right now, but also it has some of the poorest people in the world here too. So these high caste people will not be found in an area where there's a poor person. Okay, so there's a word called Dalit, which means untouchable. Now these untouchables aren't supposed to be seen around the high caste people. So I mean, as a white person, they're shocked. They're so shocked, and what an opportunity to really serve Christ this way.
Brilliant. Hey, keep up a good work, Ethan. We can't feel blessed enough for you. You're doing. A lot of people are talking the talk, but you're having to walk the walk there. And stay safe. Please know you're in our prayers. You're in our heart.